I know I probably sound like a broken record because I say this all the time, but Guess Who's Coming to Breakfast is another brilliant episode of Frasier. This is the 13th episode of the first season, directed by Andy Ackerman, and the main narrative here involves Martin going on a date with somebody who lives in the building, a woman called Elaine. And Elaine is played by Linda Stevens, and I really like how this part of the narrative played out. But what's also really great about this is that Martin is an older character who is having a relationship, and this very rarely happens in sitcoms. I mean, let's face it, most sitcoms, maybe things are changing nowadays, but most sitcoms tend to have a predominantly younger cast, with the exclusion of certain sitcoms like Golden Girls. So it's really highlighting the fact that love, romance, sexual relationships are part of adult relationships at any age. And I love how it handles it. Obviously, Frasier makes some terrible decisions, which I'll talk about in a moment, but it comes across in a way that's very entertaining. We have a great guest voice caller at the beginning, and we also have, well, there's a sub-narrative with Roz going on a date with somebody, I won't say exactly who. I feel like that had just the right amount of focus, that it wasn't something we were meant to pay that much attention to or take that seriously, while still being in focus enough that it didn't just seem like random fluff or padding. So I think everything was balanced really well. The only bit I didn't like is the conversation between Fraser and Daphne at the end. That's not really a spoiler, it doesn't give away anything, but I don't know, I didn't really like it. Because I feel like Fraser was definitely implying something, and I don't feel like he would have done. I feel like that it felt unrealistic and unbelievable and out of character for Frasier with Daphne. But I won't say any more than that. The guest voice caller we have at the beginning is Elijah Wood, who voices a young boy called Ethan, who is very smart and intelligent and who is being bullied, and he's very unhappy with Frasier's advice. And his response to it was brilliant, but Frasier's retort to his response was even better. Really brilliant start. Obviously, we get a lot of focus on Elaine and Martin and their relationship, and Frasier kind of mentions it on air in a really positive way, and talking about the fact that people of any age can have relationships and your parents can have relationships, even though you might not think about it or want to think about it. And obviously, it was a really positive message he was giving, but he aired other people's private business on the radio without their permission. And Frasier does this quite a bit. He seems to have a strong disregard for other people's privacy. Not intentionally, I don't think, but it's certainly that it's something we see now and again, something that happened in Cheers as well. And there's obviously a very strong message there that privacy is really important and that you shouldn't go around talking about other people's private affairs, even if it's in a positive way. And Frasier has a big lesson to learn. The scene in the elevator, beautifully executed, fabulously done, really sweet and moving. Martin was obviously brilliant in this. Niles is in it kind of briefly, and we get a bit of Eddie as well, but not as much as previously. But it's a really brilliant episode with some great messages, and such an important focus on Martin, not as an older character and father of Frasier, but as a main character in his own right who is going to have romantic relationships. And I just think that that's such an important thing to do, that even sitcoms nowadays don't tend to do it that frequently. So whenever a sitcom does it, it does seem quite, I want to say, special. And it shouldn't be, it should be commonplace, but it's better to have it than to not have it at all. Guess Who's Coming to Breakfast is certainly a really great episode.